Hey everybody, it's Missy again. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2018 January kits for this. And I'm up on the blog today with a couple other girls from the team for Mixed Media Monday, and so I thought I would start with the color kit this month. And you get this really pretty floral Echo Park stamp and the pink and the orange Distress Oxide. The blue color that I'm going to use came in the November kits. So this is a technique that I've done several times before. I think this is a great way to get mixed media on your page without it looking too messy. And so this white sheet of paper that I'm using is, I think, from a packaging of something. It's not even cardstock. It's just thin scrap paper. And what I'm going to do is cover most of it with these colors. I'm going to stamp. I'm going to add color to the stamp and then spritz it with water. You can see the difference in the technique there. What happens when you spray it with water. You're not going to get as crisp of an image that's on the stamp, but you're going to get this really cool splotchy effect. I'm going to directly stamp it down. I'm making a mess here. This is definitely a mess in the beginning. I'm going to also use the packaging technique. These are just several things that you can do with the Distress Oxides. I'm definitely not an expert on them, but I love the way that you can do so many things with them. Just add a little bit of water to some plastic and then turn it over and smush it down. You can also splatter it with a brush. I'm doing a little bit of blending there with my water brush. Now, I didn't use any gesso or anything, and so if I would have used gesso, it would have blended a lot differently, but I didn't feel like I needed it here. This is the peacock feathers, and I'm just going to add some of this color here and there, some straight stamping, and then add some water to make it a little bit blurry and smudgy. And then I'm going to use some of the sprays that we've got in recent color kits. This is the Shimmers Vibes in Snow Way Man, and then this is the Spritz in Ruby. And if you go onto the Hip Kit website and backtrack the last several months, color kits, you will find all of these colors because I keep all my shimmer stuff right out on my desk that we get in the color kits because they're so usable from kit to kit each month, and they're great. So yeah, I'm just making a big mess here, and I love how this looks, and I am going to add in some gold. I'm almost at the end of this bottle of gold. I've been going crazy with this color shine lately. I've been wanting to put gold on everything for the past few months. Luckily, I have another bottle that I haven't opened yet, so I'm going to be on the lookout to stock up on that stuff because it's so fast and easy to use. It's always right there on my desk, and it's so pretty. So this just looks like a really pretty color explosion here. So what I'm going to do is, here comes the neat part of this technique. First you make the mess, which really wasn't that messy, and then you start to punch shapes out of it. Now you could run this through your Cameo and cut out any type of whatever you want, or you could just use punches. I'm going to go simple and use circles. I love using circles, and I feel like they never go out of style, and you can just do so much with different size circle punches. And so this is all I'm doing here. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I've got different sizes here, and so I'm just going through and punching out here. And so as you can see on the circles, they look so pretty, so colorful, and each one is different, and all from just spraying, stamping, smushing, and letting it dry. You get this really cool, you don't even have to use pattern paper. If you do this, you could do any color scheme you wanted, and then you've got your own paper or you've got your own embellishments. So this is a fun way and a clean, neat way to do mixed media. So there you go. Look how pretty those turned out, and that took me no time at all. Now this is one of the exclusive papers in the kit that Kim Watson designed. I love it, and luckily I have 2 pieces of it. Otherwise I probably would be hoarding it and definitely not just cutting into it. But the colors match all of these mixed media colors really well, and so I'm doing the same thing. I just cut a little strip of it, and then I'm going to do some punching to add in some of these solid colors. At this point, I don't even have my photos chosen. I just want to kind of see what I have and kind of play around with these different size circles and see what kind of design I want to make with them and what I want to do. They look so pretty, especially with the gold splatters. I love that. So I am going to do a little bit onto the background, and I had to get a new bottle of clear gesso. Finally, I used up all my old one. And just to make sure the background is covered, I'm going to use this clear gesso just so I can do some smudging and some spraying. And while I was doing the gesso, I kind of decided what I wanted to do. Before it dried, or before it dries, I want to add some color to it and kind of add to the smudging as part of the drying of the gesso, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go back to that Distress Oxide and then water it down and flip it over and smudge it, and then use my palette knife to scrape it on. So it's going to kind of blend in with the gesso right away, and it's going to lighten up a lot. And then I'm going to layer in some of the orange, which is the spiced marmalade. The pink is called Picked Raspberry. And this is really fun. This is easy to do. It's supposed to look messy. It's supposed to look streaky. You know, if you're going to use a palette knife and you're going to scrape it, then it's definitely going to look that way. But if I was going to use the packaging technique, it would look totally different. So yeah, it just depends on the technique that you use and the look that you want. And I kind of just wanted some color on the background. And of course, the more I did, the darker it got. And I have to add gold. I'm addicted to this gold. I can't I can't do a layout lately without gold. What is my problem? I can't get sick of the gold. It's so pretty. So then I decide this is a little dark, so I'm going to lighten up the edges a little bit with some white gesso just to kind of fade it out a little bit. And then I decided to use these pictures. They've actually been on my desk for a while, and I think they're so cute. They're from, gosh, 5.5 years ago. Of course, they're pool pictures because I love the colors. I think this matches really, really well, and I love the blue of the water in the background. It's a perfect match to the blues in the circles. So I think this is what I'm going to do. I decided I was originally going to do a vertical design with that scraped background, but then I just decided to flip it since I wanted to place the photos like this. She's looking one way in one picture and one way in the other, and I wanted them to kind of go together. So this is how I'm going to situate it. In my mind, it makes sense, but yeah, I like how this is looking. And I also punched some circles from that Crepe Paper Good Vibes green and white striped paper. And I don't even want to remove this because I like how it looks. So I'm going to add a little dab of glue behind all of those circles before I mess that up. And my thought at this point was to kind of have all the background mixed media at the top and then kind of leave the bottom half white, as in sort of like an empty white space. And I think it looks kind of random and different, but in the end, I think it looks really pretty, and I think the colors look really well together. I went through all of the embellishments, and I've been wanting to use these exclusive floral die cuts by Kim Watson, and this is my third layout, and I have not used any of them yet, and it was driving me nuts because I wanted to dig into them. So I went through and picked out a couple that matched all of the colors, because a lot of those flowers have like a royal blue and a bright yellow, and those colors were not in this layout. And so I picked the few of the florals that did not have those colors, so they would match this color scheme. And then I just picked things that I thought might go, and I tried a couple of things, and some work and some don't. I'm going to use a couple of those Pink Fresh epoxy stickers. There's a peachy orangey colored one, and then that pink one over on the right. And then I decided to tuck in the flowers kind of underneath some of the circles, so they're just kind of subtle bits of the flowers and they're not overlapping the pictures or anything. And I did add in some thread. I added in some of the aqua and then some of the darker pink. And that one little flower is going to go underneath the pictures there in the corner. And this is something I do quite frequently, and this is just add adhesive foam to the back of the pictures to give them a little bit of dimension. And I'm not going to fill up the entire back of the top one since it's going to overlap the bottom picture there. And I don't wind up using all of the circles. I always make too many when I do things like this, but that's okay because they match this kit, and so I'm going to make sure I add them to my stash, or not throw them away, but keep them with the kit because I could definitely use them again on another page. And I don't know, I just love circle layouts. They're so fun. I never get sick of circles, and they're easy to use. Now here's where I decided to do a lot of stitching off camera. I did some around the outside edges of the circles. I did some zigzags through the circles. I did some straight stitching back and forth. I used a lot of gold thread, and I also used some thread that matched the circles. So I used some pink thread, some orange thread, and some aqua thread. I just kept on stitching. Everything was working well. My machine cooperated for a change. And I love the extra little pop of gold in some of those circles. And I thought that added a little bit more dimension, and it made sure that everything was stuck down and nice and flat on the background. So I wanted to add a little bit of a layer of some sort behind the pictures. And so I'm going to cut this little, I don't even know what that is. It reminds me of like little tassels on a rug or something. So I'm going to cut that out and then ruffle up the edges with my edge distressor and use that because it just seems to have all the colors that I'm already using, and I like that little edge it gives. And then I decide, what am I going to do for the other one? So luckily I have two of these, so I'm going to cut the other one out and do the same exact thing. I tried to use one of the crepe paper tags, but it was too much pink. So I'm going to do the same thing again and use that as a little subtle layer as well. Just gives something a little bit extra behind the pictures without being, it's not really distracting, but it just adds to the color and makes it a little more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and glue that little flower down because it keeps moving. And then here's going to be part of my title. This is from one of the Project Life cards. It says it's party time, and I'm going to cut out party time because this is just a couple of a gazillion photos that I have of my kids in the pool. We always call it our weekend pool party, even though it's just us and we're just playing around. So my title is going to be Pool Party Time because that's what we were doing. And I have so many pictures that are, I've probably taken the same picture over and over again, year after year after year. Close-ups far away, jumping, splashing, smiling, but I don't even care because it's their favorite thing to do, and I will scrap the same pool picture over and over again in a different way. It doesn't bother me. I love it. And like I said, these are from 2012. Gosh, she was only 6. No, Reese was 6. Paige was 3. Oh my gosh, she's almost 9. Where has the time gone? Jeez. Okay, I'm not going to reminisce and get all soppy and sappy here over my children growing up. I'm going to play around with some of those gold. I believe these are Dear Lizzie. They're puffy alphas. They're awesome. They're tall and skinny and gold. And so I'm going to use pool for those, or with those, and then party time is going to be the fussy cut letters. These are from the Pink Fresh Studio stickers. I'm going to use the pink one that's a little label. It says today, and I'm eventually going to stamp the date there. And I moved pool over to the right and party time over to the bottom right. They're kind of separated. And I just wanted to leave the left area white. I just felt like I was covering up too much of the page. And so I wanted to overlap that white on top of a circle because I felt like the contrast looked really good since the letters were white. I'm going to use a couple of those little memory planner American Craft stickers, 2 of the pink ones, and then yes, add more gold because there's not enough. And then the final thing I'm going to do is I decided to add a little bit of something over to the left, and that's the remainder of the sheet of paper that I punched the circles out of. I'm just going to stick the crooked edge over onto the left side of the cardstock and glue it down. I love how that looks. And that was just a scrap that I was going to toss out, but it was just something I wanted to add to the side. I thought it looked cute, and I'd stitched through it with gold. And that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. The colors are magnificent. The kits, the colors, oh, love it, love it. Definitely love the color kit. I love starting with the color kit and then letting that inspire the rest of the layout. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to make. The result I'm very, very happy with. So let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you have any questions about any of the kits or anything that I did, anything that I used. I'll be more than happy to answer. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will see y'all in the next video.